coming through the mists of time.
I can't believe it. We finally got our hands on a Plymouth Prowler.
I just did a burnout in a Plymouth Prowler. Yes, this is a giveaway car. fanofthem.com/regular cars. Click on the link in the description, it's right there. fanofthem.com/regular cars. Buy some merch and you're automatically entered to win. Just pick up some merch. If you have thought about entering a giveaway that we do on RCR, but you never did, this is the one to do. First of all, it's okay that some people don't know how to drive stick. They've never had that opportunity. Great news is you will never be chastised for driving an automatic Plymouth Prowler because they're all automatics. Manual was never an option on one of these cars. You know, most of the giveaway cars, in fact, all of the giveaway cars that we do on RCR with Fan of Them are performance cars. Turbocharged, stick shift machines, occasionally a fast truck. They're good driving cars, enthusiast machines, cars that take corners very well, accelerate aggressively, and are a joy to drive. I should say, drive well. Jeez. The Plymouth Prowler is none of those things. So here I am, telling you to enter this giveaway. And you should enter a giveaway for a car that is not fast, handles bad. Is it well made? It's Dodge, isn't it? It's Chrysler. So why should you own them? Well, Jeremy Clarkson said no true automotive enthusiast, or no true petrolhead as the term they use, they should all own, or you should all own, an Alfa Romeo. No true gearhead or petrolhead can say that they're a petrolhead if they have never owned an Alfa Romeo. I say no American gearhead can say they're a gearhead if they haven't owned a pile of Dodge. Or in this case, Plymouth. It's Chrysler. Because these cars are bizarre. They don't make sense. They're done for silliness. This car defies all expectations, or subverts all expectations of what an enthusiast car is. And I think you should own this. You should experience this, because there may not be a car like this again. Thank you. Yeah! Feel my V6 tremble at my 252 horsepower.
It is divisive, it is adored, it is hated, it is reviled, it is dismissed, it is celebrated, but it is undeniably one of the most unique production cars ever to make it off an assembly line.
Hell yeah, brother. Got my Plymouth Prowler, setting up for the car show. Yeah, I can feel the attention coming. You know what you're looking at. Yeah. Got my sign so people know. Got my chair ready to sit. Yeah. Pants shitted. Gobs blessed. Barb left.
It's the late 1990s. And Dad just bought 2,800 pounds of invisible penis lengthening surgery. Plymouth Prowler, brought to you by Corvette guys digivolving into their final form. Prowler, the official car of putting up a boomer board at Weiss Markets. Ham. Yes, I'll have the ham. Prowler, the official car of waddling into PetSmart, finding the smallest, cutest girl employee, standing too close to her, ripping a tuna fish fart, looking around and saying, "I didn't know you sold whales here," and then waddling back out to your 1 of 500 Plymouth Prowler, pulling the wedgie out of your crack, catching your breath from the long 20-yard walk, sitting down, and reflecting on your successful life. It is 13 feet 9 inches long. It is 6 feet 5 inches wide. It is 4 feet 3 inches high. And this has one of the most fantastic freakish, devoted, weird fan clubs I've ever run across. I did my homework for this review, and I lurked on the Plymouth Prowler Facebook groups. Swingers. Dude, go. These are some vanilla people, and you just look in their eyes, they're up to some freaky stuff after hours. On paper, this is a 2-seat roadster designed by Chrysler during the height of the dot-com boom. It represented the runaway optimism of the late 1990s. Grunge music was over, rap rock was in, ska was back, rockabilly's now fronted big swing bands, guest bedrooms became computer rooms, and the S&P 500 line kept going up and up and up. Chrysler was more successful than ever. Their minivan dominated the market. The TJ Wrangler was selling better than even the YJ, and their Viper was dominating the Corvette and Mustang. Critics were calling the Gen 1 Neon almost as good as Honda. It seemed during those 10 short years, everything Chrysler touched turned to Beanie Babies. So they decided, hey, you know that concept car? No, not the Copperhead, the weirder one. Yeah, we're just gonna make that. No, I'm serious. No changes. We're gonna put a concept car into production. Yeah, I know we don't have everything it needs, but, we got minivan parts, we got sedan parts, we're gonna make it work. So it's powered by the 3.5-liter EGG V6. That's the same engine that moved the Chrysler Concorde sedan, Eagle Vision, Chrysler 300M, and the Chrysler Pacific crossover. That was before it became a minivan. And after the Prowlers discontinue in 2002, the EGG V6 would go on to power the base model Dodge Charger and Challenger. The Chrysler EGG V6 is an all-aluminum engine making about 250 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and about 250 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM. It's a single overhead cam, non-interference engine with a timing belt. Now this is where it gets better, the transmission. Okay, so the EGG V6 was a longitudinal mounted engine meant for front-wheel drive cars. So Chrysler had this whole cab-forward design, which allowed them to move their wheels almost to the front bumper. That allowed you there to have a longitudinal V6 and a transmission that it looked like the front half of a Subaru transmission, with half shafts coming out, only this one has no drive shaft on the way back. So this V6 was meant to power the front wheels, but Chrysler needed to get the Prowler in production. So instead of making their own gearbox, to make it a rear-wheel drive car, they just put a torque tube and shoved that front-wheel drive transmission to the back of the car. That way, if you look, like here in the brochure, if you look in the cutaway, you see that this prop shaft is running to the back, and there's a transmission in the back that has a bell housing, but nothing attached to it. They're just like, nah, just shove the transmission back there. It'll be fine. The transmission itself is the 4.2 LE 4-speed automatic transmission. 0 to 60 is a respectable 6 seconds, and the car hits fuel cut at 126 miles an hour. I had this thing up to 80. Woohoo! You don't want to go 120 in this. 80 is fine, but we'll get to the handling in a bit. Chrysler made a total of 11,702 Prowlers from 1997 until 2002. So why does it handle super weird? Well, the front wheels are 17 inches and the rears are 20s. That is wild for a production car to come with dubs straight from the factory in 1997. Now, this is a 2001 model, but for our purposes, it really doesn't matter because there were no trim levels of this car. There weren't really updates. They're all pretty much the same car. And in 2001, this is the second to last year of production, where the MSRP for this, you ready for prices? Okay, this was $44,625. Adjusted for inflation to 2026, that is a staggering $82,838. This was almost as expensive as a Viper. In today's money, you could buy an Enos Grenadier for less. You could buy a BMW 135i convertible with a straight 6 turbo for much less than what this is. But are you as remarkable? I don't know if you're called cool, But then again, the Prowler has gone through phases throughout its life. This is a classic car now. In driving this thing around, a lot of people don't know what it is. Now, rightfully so. Most of the people who bought these things were boomers, and they just put them away in garages. I've been driving this thing at the time of recording this for about 2 weeks. I have not seen another one. And come to think of it, I haven't seen a Prowler in the wild outside of a car show in maybe 15 years. They just don't exist. If you haven't discovered the joys of Icy Hot yet, I'm not sure you can visualize the stir that this vehicle created in the hearts and groins of white suburban dads aged 40 to 46 in 1997. Remember how people lost their collective tits over Stanley Cups, Swatch pocket watches, boba tea, espresso martinis, sea salt lamps, Dubai chocolate, froyo, and McRibs? Imagine if you hydraulic pressed all that hype into one concept. That's the Plymouth Prowler in 1997. These things were selling way above MSRP. Plymouth Prowler.
Yeah, the wife's gonna get it tonight. Wife's making London broil tonight.
It's 1997. You're a 40-year-old dad. You just retired with your .com money. And your oldest son is burning up all the butter knives doing dabs. You go to Olive Garden in your Plymouth Prowler. Your wife starts stuffing breadsticks into her purse because you gave her all those big Ziploc bags for a reason. And you drive home, happily filled up with carbs, not really thinking about your kids. The future's gonna be fine, and you're just cruising into the imagined retirement that is for sure coming. But you don't go too fast, because here's the driving impressions of a Plymouth Prowler. It drives like 3 different cars all at once. It drives like a TJ Wrangler, a Grumman LLV mail truck, and a Dodge Caravan all at the same time. So if this thing drives so bad, why do people like it? Well, we'll get to that. The Wrangler characteristics come from the sloppy steering and driving position relative to the center of mass of this car. In a Wrangler, your body is closer to the rear wheels than the front wheels. And the same is true of the Prowler. You sit right in front of the rear half shafts. In fact, you can open the door, stay seated, and touch the rear wheels. That means when you do break the wide rear tires loose, it's not the tail of the car that swings out, it's you. It's like riding in the last 2 seats of a wooden roller coaster. You're like the Phoenix at Knoebels. You're getting whipped around in this thing. The Grumman LLV mail truck characteristics come from, again, the wheels. You have massive 20-inch wheels. The tire size is 295/40/20s. And the fronts are a normal 225/45/17s. The front is normal. Now, it's normal for some rear-wheel drive cars to have wider rear tires than the fronts, but not to this extreme. Also, the front wheels, or rather the front contact patch, is ever so slightly closer together than the rear wheels. Now, that wouldn't be a problem if the rear wheels weren't wide and large in all directions. And that difference in grip and the mass compounds the front end push and understeer. The Grumman LLV has the same size and wheels and tires all the way around, but the front tires are tucked in on purpose to make the turning circle smaller, so the mail truck can maneuver in tight city streets. But it makes the LLV unstable at speed. Now that doesn't matter because it's a utility vehicle, not a sports car. But all speeds over 80 miles an hour in the Prowler, the front end starts bouncing. It gets twitchy. It's trying to lead the car, but it's also trying to wrestle control back from the dominating oversized rear wheels. I'm on the Pennsylvania Turnpike in this thing. I have both hands on the wheel. The front end is quivering like a twink on 3 white monsters who just got his collar tugged. And number 3, the Prowler drives like a Dodge Caravan, more specifically a second-gen Dodge Caravan with nothing in it and the middle and back seats removed. Those vans become bouncy castles when unladen. The front end feels normal, but the rear started acting like your one friend who gets overly dramatic and histrionic when drunk. Remember how I said at speed the front end of a Prowler fights to control the rear who is stronger? A similar thing happens at low speeds, but the front takes the dominant role and the rear is bouncing around. That's because of two things. One, the sophistication of the Prowler's front suspension. It is a well-designed double A-arm setup with inboard coilovers. And the front suspension has all the travel at once because these are open-wheel cars. There's nothing to run into, and the hubs sit out in the open, but when you hit a pothole, the front suspension instantly absorbs it, and it doesn't feel serious. But when the pothole hits the rear tires, wham! True, the rear is independent as well, but it's crude, and these 20-inch wheels don't have much travel, so you don't know you've hit a serious pothole until after you've hit it. And since your body is right on the rear suspension, you feel that hit. Goes right in your ass bone. It's getting kicked like it's in a Van Damme movie. And speaking of the rear, here's how you get into the trunk.
Well, go get your fob. Oh wait, there's no button on here. It's just lock, unlock, and panic. And there's no release, there's no anything. How do you get into this? How do you get into the trunk? Well, this is what you have to do. You have to open the door. You have to come inside. And then over here, there's a lever. Does this open the trunk? No, but it's step one. You pull that, get back out, and lift up the back of the roof. Okay. Now, there's over here, inside, facing toward you, bring the camera over here. Point where my finger is a little button. That's your trunk release. Press that, it's electric, and the trunk opens up clamshell size, and that's it. That's all you get. Put that down again, get in the car again, release these two latches, and by the way, you have to be very gentle with these, because they don't make replacements. You break these, you messed up your roof. Get out again. The roof is, none of these were electric. They are all, wait, I'm doing something right. That comes, this comes up. By the way, this rear glass is glass. And then fold your roof down. You're supposed to buckle your roof in, but I mean, it's not going anywhere. Oh, and by the way, if this electric switch right here, if this breaks, you have a little manual loop you can pull here. I put a bracelet on it, but that will also pop your trunk. Oh, and by the way, the electric button won't work if the car is locked. So you can lock this trunk to protect stuff in. Actually, you know what? Let's do a test. Yeah, the manual override works if it's, but let's lock it. Okay, it's locked. I attempt to open it with the button, doesn't work. Now, if I open it with the manual override, will it set off the car alarm? No. Yep, sets it off. Shut up. Okay. It's not very loud. It's not a loud horn, is it? Not really. So if you wanted to steal stuff out of the back, you could just, and if you know that the release is there, you could just release it, reach in, grab whatever you want, plop it off, and then just walk away.
Cost of ownership. Justin was able to get this car from an old guy who kept extensive records. Not just him, but the original owner. We're technically the third. So how much did he really spend over the years?
Yep. Fuel system flush. So transmission service plus oil change plus transmission flush.
What's the mileage for the transmission flush?
88,000. So it was done about 15,000 miles ago. Customer states clunking noise in rear, suspension, diagnose and replace left rear strut assembly, road test okay. This was in 2004. Oh my goodness. Labor and parts, $1,000.
$129.10.
My God. Customer says mud flap came off.
Mud flap.
$0.
Oh, that's nothing.
Chrysler, but still, it's still something that happened. The mud flap came off.
Yeah.
They must have just screwed it back on. Trans flush.
Another one.
Huh. Do BG Trans Power Flush. 4 exclamation points. Service completed. Quick clean and ATF 4. Real fart. $185.77.
Customer says driver's side headlamp, driver's side tail lamp inoperable, bulbs on dash. List price for player, something, $51.
Customer states vehicle cut off while driving. Smelled a burning smell. Check and advise. Will not start.
Oh boy.
Replaced alternator. Replaced burnt wiring. $867.64. So it sounds like it wasn't just the alternator. It sounds like something shorted maybe.
Yeah. Customer states water leaking in both windows. Install stops. Replace left and front weather stripping. Warranty.
I noticed that the weather stripping on the roof has a split in it.
Customer states left side tail light blowing fuses. Light inoperable. Diagnose and replace tail light wiring harness. Left rear tail light assembly.
Jesus.
Total parts and labor $755.22.
Customer states dash lights inoperable. Traced and repaired open in-dash light circuit at fuse block. Total price for both was $107.86.
Total cost of ownership $7,146.76. Divided by 25 years
Yep.
equals, that's not that bad, $285.89
A year.
a year.
Even
maintenance.
Even if you doubled that, $500 a year. I mean, people blow that on one set of brakes now.
Right.
The subculture surrounding this car, I have to talk about it more because this is what it seems to project. Everybody who owns one of these things feels like they just arrive in life. This is a car for the ultimate male fantasy. Well, I really shouldn't exclude all genders. Everybody deserves a chance to be awesome. But this is how it plays out in people's minds with Prowlers. This is going to need a separate video because I could go on for another 10 minutes. This is a terrible vehicle. It is underpowered. It is overly expensive. It is complicated. It's made with bargain basement parts and it's no longer in production and parts are hard to find. By all accounts, no one should like it. And in fact, when I was a young gearhead, I didn't like it. Why would I like this when the Viper exists? But I forgot something. Normal people. Gearheads aren't normal people. Normal people want something flashy, something different, something unique. They don't care what's under the hood. That's why all 11,702 Prowlers are all sold. Immediately. Maybe there were some deals in 2002, the final year, where it no longer was called a Plymouth Prowler because Plymouth didn't exist in 2002 anymore. They were called Chrysler Prowlers. But the people who are really into these cars aren't into cars. They're just into this. Isn't that weird? The engine doesn't mean anything. The weird shifting transmission doesn't mean anything. The complete impracticality of this car doesn't mean anything. This is a way to buy a personality, and this is the way to buy yourself into a friend group. But on the other hand, Dodge made this. It was a car that no one asked for. No one wants a Roadster with a roof that kind of leaks, and traction that's all weird, and a tape cassette player. And visibility that's not that fantastic. Oh yeah, and I had to take the sun visors off because it's like an NA Miata. The sun visors are in the way of your visibility and putting the top down doesn't help. And the headlights are really close together, so the beam pattern's weird. No matter what type of exhaust you put on this thing, it doesn't sound like a V8. It just sounds like a minivan that's getting revved too hard. And yet, it is loved. But then I started to change as I drove it.
You know, oh, guy with a utility trailer. It's got auto stick, which I shall now use again. Put it in auto stick, put it in first gear, crank the wheel, put your foot down. It will spin its rear tires. First gear is very low. You know, the more I drive this car, the more I understand it. It's not meant to be good by the criteria for which we judge sports cars. It is made to be silly all the time. And it's a representation of, man, this camera's bouncing around. It's a representation of the unbridled optimism of the 1990s and Chrysler having no regard for its financial security. In the 90s, when they were flush with cash, what they should have been doing is perfecting the minivan, making, as Lee Iacocca said, more small cars that Americans want to buy. And they did do some good things. I mean, they made the Dodge Neon SRT4, that was very good. But then they just wasted money on the Plymouth Prowler, a car that nobody asked for. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I know this is shot out of order, but that was 3 consecutive stops that I spun the rear tires. I think it's hilarious that a car that only makes 250 pound-feet of torque can spin 295 series rear tires. I may be dating myself by saying that this car is powered by Dr. Seuss sound effects, but it is. Everywhere you go, it's just as you go along. You ever play a Final Fantasy game where automobiles exist, but you know, none of Square Enix or whatever, who's ever running Final Fantasy these days, they cannot make a normal looking car. Every single car in Final Fantasy has to be, ooh, my nipples, blue. That's what this is. This is a car that appears in like a Final Fantasy game. I am driving an automated mobility device. Ooh, Jesus. Sorry, I scared myself just doing that again because I forgot I'm sitting over the rear tires. And when I did that, the front of the car goes meep, 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 and I'm in the back here just getting whipped around. It is true that I had to call the Plymouth Prowler. It drives like 3 different vehicles. V6! Let's see we go. I own my own house. I'm a boomer. I'm going to be making more videos with this because there's so much more to talk about. Please, enter this giveaway. Someone's going to win this. It's been now almost 3 weeks with this vehicle. Have I seen another Plymouth Prowler? No. You will get approached. You will get stopped. I hated this car. I'll be honest, I hated this car when it came out. But now 25 years have passed and I understand it. And I think you'll understand it too. Click on the link in the description. Go to fanofthem.com/regularcars. Buy some limited edition merch, and you're automatically entered to win. You should enter this giveaway. When are we going to get our hands on another Plymouth Prowler? And one that's in good shape? Because unfortunately, most of these cars have entered garages. Yes, the Prowler craws happen, and the Facebook groups are keeping them going. I know I tease them, but they really are necessary to keep this car alive. This one has almost 100,000 miles on it, which means it's been taken care of. It's been run. You know, any gearhead will tell you that one of the most surefire ways to have a car, you know, rot and not survive is to not drive it. I often wonder about so many Prowlers now that this has been my car for the past 2 weeks, how many Plymouth Prowlers have just atrophied in garages. Oh, it's only got 37,000 miles. It's brand new. I know what I got. Yeah, I know what you got. You have a whole bunch of seals that have never been replaced. everything's original on that car, so the second you try to take that machine and drive it like a real car, it's going to break down over and over again. But no, we've been just whipping this thing every single day, takes it like a champ, because it's a broken in, well-maintained car. By the way, most of the people who give me thumbs up in this thing, all Wrangler drivers. I don't know what that means, but maybe you'll figure it out. Anyway, click on the link in the description. Pick up some limited edition merch at fanofthem.com/regularcars. You're helping out Regular Car Reviews continue to exist in this world of AI slop and disingenuous influencers, but RCR will continue to remain real. Thanks to you and thanks to these giveaways. Please enter this giveaway. Go to fanofthem.com/regularcars. Pick up some merch, and one lucky person is gonna get a Plymouth Prowler. You're gonna love this. Thank you. More videos on this coming soon.